Hey, everybody! Welcome to Waterdeep Dragon Heist. I am your dungeon master, Trust a Flump, i.e. D&D Time Jeremy. And these are my fantastic cohorts. Kyle Wave.
Hello.
Pete. I don't know why I'm going diagonally.
You can see me at the beginning now. Hi.
Crowley.
Hi.
And last but not least, James.
Hey.
We are going to be playing Waterdeep Dragon Heist. So I'm really excited about this module. It's a fairly new one. It came out last fall for 5th edition D&D. And have you guys heard anything about it?
Loosely, but I haven't looked into it.
Yeah, like I
I
have.
knew it existed.
I intentionally stayed away from learning about it because I
Yeah,
knew I was going to play it with you.
Ain't that delightful?
I know it features Thanos.
It's true.
Yeah, apparently it features Thanos, guys, but we'll figure that out later. But yeah, Waterdeep Dragon Heist. I'm really stoked about this. It's a really cool urban module based in Waterdeep, the City of Splendors in the Forgotten Realms, which is just cool. I don't know. So yeah, I guess a little bit of information for those of you who may not be familiar with us. We are D&D Time. It's a channel here on twitch.tv. We are also on YouTube, but not many people watch us on YouTube. But if you ever want to catch our stuff, it'll always be there. We do 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Our main show is Pete and Jeremy's D&D Time, after that guy down there in the corner and me.
Oh, hi.
Where we run a bunch of adventures for our viewers. But this is something different. This is going to be not a full campaign. It goes from levels 1 through 5. And that's really about it. It's a very different kind of game than a lot of the standard modules you'll find that have come out so far for 5th edition.
I know that it's not combat centric. That's the biggest one that I know.
There's plenty of combat, but there's also a lot of intrigue in this adventure. A lot of mystery, a lot of puzzles, or not necessarily puzzles, but
Are there riddles?
Figuring it out, right? Solving the puzzle, tracking down all of the things you need to find, and eventually getting to the treasure at the end.
Can we steal a dragon?
Yeah, and we're gonna steal dragons because we're gonna kidnap dragons.
Dragon Heist.
Yeah,
but Jeremy,
what else could the title
please
be?
put a riddle in this game at some point for me, regardless of whether or not there is one?
Absolutely, Pete. I promise.
Thank you.
There will be at least one riddle.
You're the best.
Maybe more. Pete's a lover of riddles, for those not aware.
I love riddles. I'm not particularly good at them. I just really like them.
But yeah, so Dragon Heist. No one has really thought too much about characters yet, I assume?
No.
Not a whole lot.
The only thing that I did figure out is I'm going to be 100% charisma based. I just don't know what I'm going to find.
Oh, classic Kyle.
As Kyle's want to do.
Oh, is that Pete?
I have thought of like a character archetype that I kind of wanted to play, like a personality I wanted to play, but not necessarily anything else.
Well, that's all good because there's a lot of really interesting stuff about this adventure. The kinds or the characters you play actually matter. Like things like don't get me wrong. I said that the wrong way. Like
I get it, but it's just what you play matters.
No, but it does, right? Like even something as simple as like your character's race can have kind of a profound impact throughout the adventure. And that's actually, I think it's really cool. But first, we're going to start out talking a little bit about Waterdeep. I want to give you guys a bit of a primer, a little bit of basic knowledge about the city and the game. What are you laughing at, Kyle?
Just chat. Chat's funny.
Just chat. Oh, hello, chat. Hi, chat. Oh, Maddie Morgan subscribed. Thank you, Maddie Morgan. Let the heist begin. Indeed.
Does the heist start immediately?
The heist starts no. The heist does not start immediately. That's one of the interesting about this adventure. You have a couple of chapters, actually, of the adventure that leads up to the characters becoming embroiled in this kind of cross-city scavenger hunt conflict between a bunch of important factions. These factions are really important throughout the adventure. Characters get the opportunities to like join different factions if you want, gain renown within those factions, and ask for help if you want, which is kind of neat. The idea of actually being able to gain meaningful allies, because you guys are only going to be levels 1 through 5.
Yeah.
So there's some
That's
serious
really
NPCs in this
cool.
game.
That's really cool that the factions actually matter, because I think I went over this when we were doing Delves. I did play in an AL game for Tomb of Annihilation, and the factions just didn't fucking matter at all. Like, it didn't matter what factions the parties was for competing things, because it was all just like stupid side quest things that no one cared about.
Well, they do matter pretty substantially, actually. So it's going to be really cool. I guess, God, where do I start? Let's first by just starting and talking a little bit about Waterdeep. Do you guys know anything about Waterdeep?
Waterdeep, City, the Blackstaff, Xanathar.
I know that
buildings.
there's Undermountain.
Those are a lot of
is
words.
related to it.
Omen Drawn.
Oh dear God! Will not be Omendron in this, unless by some godly miracle Jerry Holkins deigns to grace us with his presence. But I don't think that'll happen. Okay, so Waterdeep. It is an urban metropolis. It's called the City of Splendors because of all of its wonderful architecture and magical stuff, and it's just pretty cool. There's lots of splendors, right? Lots of wondrous things in this. Let's start by
my note taking.
Yeah, you don't have to take notes if you want, but as a brief,
I'm not going to.
Basis, the city's run has a very unique kind of form of governance. In Waterdeep, there are a council of what are called masked lords. These are secret lords like nobility. No one knows who they are. Their identities are kept secret. They have like cloaks and masks that mask their visage, voice, and everything. And they are kind of the ones who make the laws and run the city. They work through, however, a singular masked lord, who's kind of a singular open lord, rather. And that character is known to everyone. Currently, in the history of Waterdeep, it is a woman named Laeral Silverhand. She's a legendary, powerful Valkyrie lady. I don't know. She's super good. But that's kind of the main governing force of the city. Also in the city, there are the guilds, which have a very comparable amount of power to the lords. They control pretty much all the commerce within the city, all of the trade. And there are like 40. There are a ton of them. I think at some point during this, we'll talk about a couple of them. And it'd be cool, actually, if one or two of you guys wanted to like incorporate a guild into your character in some way.
That sounds
there are a couple
appealing.
Yeah, there are a couple of like really interesting guilds you wouldn't think about, like the Dung Sweepers Guild, for example, which is just like
there's.
Isn't there a whole stream about the Dung Sweepers Guild that someone was doing?
Yes, there is. There's a stream called Clerical Error, which is
that's the one.
Yes, it's actually quite good from what I've seen of it. I saw 5 episodes, maybe 6. I don't know, but it was pretty good from what I've seen so far. I've been meaning to catch up on it. But yeah, Dung Sweepers Guild. There are a guild for basically anything you can think of, and we'll go through those.
Making guns.
All right.
There's no gun guild.
Is there an investigators guild?
No, not quite. But there is a City Watch, and they are obviously one of the big factions that you can kind of curry favor with and gain renown with, and maybe even join. That's kind of a route people are interested in. So anyway, so the city governance. Okay, Thanos has a booger in his nose. But see, they don't see that because it's just got the webcams on. Yeah. Okay, let's swap over so they can all see these.
Yeah,
I hadn't seen James yet, and he looks amazing on that.
There you go, guys.
I hadn't seen James yet either. That's fantastic.
You got to put James
Jeremy.
in all the iron.
You've made my dreams a reality, Jeremy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're beautiful. It's beautiful.
Let everyone know you did that in like less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's 3.5.
Like,
pretty classy.
It finished up with 7 seconds until stream start, and the stream did not start late. Jeremy was like, "All right, 5, 4," right as it ended. It was impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Waterdeep. Let's start talking about stuff. Has anyone thought about any classes they were interested in, or
Like I
anything
said,
like that?
charisma based. So
Okay, so maybe like a bard or a paladin or a sorcerer or something.
possibly, I was actually thinking of warlock. I just don't know if I want to.
Oh,
do
right,
that.
or a warlock. Okay.
Mm.
So I'm going to be using exclusively Roll20's Waterdeep Dragon Heist module to run all of this and keep things going. So excuse me while I might take a couple of weeks to really get the hang of it. It was, I think, my first time really using one of Roll20's modules. So forgive me if I'm a little slow at the beginning.
Before we really get into classes, what are we doing for stats?
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to think about stats,
Oh.
kind of the last thing. I was figuring we'd roll for.
Ooh,
That's
I
fine.
like rolling for stats.
I do want to roll.
Mm.
Even
Mhm.
before that, just I had one more question generally about Waterdeep. And
There's
Jeremy,
a ton to talk about. Go ahead.
how much information do you want us to know about Waterdeep? Because I stayed away from learning about it because I knew we were doing this, but I didn't know if you would think it was cool and want us to maybe do a little research on the city of Waterdeep, learn some of the stuff within it, the factions, the people, how established are we supposed to be in the city of Waterdeep for the campaign to work?
And that is an awesome question, and the answer is it doesn't matter. The campaign has some really cool mechanics in the first chapter. Or not mechanics, but kind of twists and designs in it that establish the characters as being invested in this.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you guys decide, yeah, we're brand new to Waterdeep, or yeah, we've lived here forever. It works either way. Obviously, there is probably going to be some conflict with the local guards over breaking laws if you guys don't know what they are, but that's fine. That happens. What's a little jail time to you guys,
I'm
right?
sure I will break many.
Another question.
Sure.
Are we going to be beginning meeting each other in session 1, or are we an established group that knows each other well, or is that also up to us?
Well, that is up to you, although I think this adventure works a lot better in the context that you all at least know each other prior to it starting.
All right.
It kind of makes the assumption that you guys are adventurers.
Okay, cool.
But that doesn't have to be the case.
We don't necessarily have to be close, but just to have a degree of familiarity where it makes sense for us to be working together.
Yeah, precisely.
Okay.
And the beginning of this adventure, again, it's very straightforward. It's just, you're adventurers, you get hired to do a thing, you go do your thing. Such starts the chain of events that is the adventure.
I love it. I mean, that's how you begin the D&D campaign. That's the quintessential start.
That is pretty standard. But yeah, there are a ton of different factions. And like I said before, your race actually really matters. For example, if one or more of you wanted to play a monstrous race, something like a Kenku or an orc or a tabaxi or something like a bugbear, any of those kind of bizarre, more monstrous things.
Exotic, I believe, is the term that the...
Actually, they use the word monstrous in Volus, guys, so...
They only use them for the ones that are usually...
Yeah.
Monsters.
The Kenku,
Kenku
I don't think is, but
Yeah.
the hobgoblin and stuff, absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's some really interesting opportunities in this specific adventure if you do go that route. So that's something cool to just kind of note. Tieflings have an important kind of existence in this. It's in this adventure with some interesting, unique opportunities.
Can I be a warforged?
If you really want.
Go.
Oh God!
Does everyone else get to say?
The door's been open, guys.
Everyone else gets to say.
No, I'm just the only reason I'm making these noises is because
I made a pact with everyone I would never play that character again, and I'm not going to.
Okay.
I just wanted the
I
option.
play his brother.
Kyle
Yeah,
Robot
Jebediah.
to Electric.
This is Robot Turek.
I mean, even
this is Robot Jeb.
Jeb.
My name is Danger. But any pretty much anything can work in Waterdeep. It is kind of a mixing pot across even like multiverses. If someone wanted to be like a Loxodon from Ravnica, you could do that. It'd be fucking weird, pardon me, but you could.
Well, to put something forward then to begin with, I was very interested in playing a halfling. Because ever since I read Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes and read the lore on the halflings, I've been really wanting to play a halfling that uses a lot of that lore. So that's something that I would be really into.
I was half expecting a Daggerty.
No, not a Daggerty. Maybe a halfling rogue, but not Daggerty.
Okay. Well, if you want, I can talk a little bit about the factions that you do know.
That sounds great.
People are interested. Some of them are secret factions. I'm not going to go over those now, but I'll go over the ones that are at least very obvious, that like everyone knows about. Drow are also an important thing if you want to be like a Drow. And because of the lesser focus on combat, sunlight sensitivity isn't as big of a drawback. Heads up for anyone interested.
Sick.
So, various factions have roots in Waterdeep, and any character with a faction agent background, see the Sword Coast Adventures Guide, can choose to belong to one of the factions described below, providing the character meets the faction's prerequisites. And then you can gain renown and further. So, let's start with the Emerald Enclave. So, the Emerald Enclave is a faction with a vested interest in protecting nature, the natural order of things, and they really focus on, unlike maybe the Emerald Enclave of 4th edition, in 5th edition, it's more of coexistence and peace and balance between civilization and nature. They don't just want to tear down society, necessarily, unless you're being a crazy druid or something, which you could do.
Eco-terrorist.
Yeah, Waterdeep harbors a few members of the faction who seek to foster harmony between nature and civilization. Members living in Waterdeep help guard the city against unnatural threats, including aberrations and undead. They also watch over the City of the Dead, which is Waterdeep's public cemetery, and the city's park. So this faction, it has a kind of faction base within the city that you can visit. And what's actually interesting about these factions is you can get like side quests from them throughout the year. So keep that in mind as well. So that's kind of the Emerald Enclave. I don't know if anyone was interested in a more nature-focused character, but that's an option. One other faction is called the Grey Hands, or Force Grey. They are kind of the special forces, the Black Ops of Waterdeep, except they're not as good as Black Ops because they tend to cause almost as much trouble as they're worth. So they're only really, at least Force Grey is only really utilized and mobilized for big. But in order to join Force Grey, you first have to become a member of the Grey Hand. An individual who served in the City Watch or the City Guard is eligible to join, as are characters who are willing to swear oaths to defend Waterdeep, its citizens, and the laws with their lives. Adventurers who show promise might be invited to join the Grey Hands, a faction overseen by the Blackstaff, who's a character in the adventure I'm sure you'll come to. Members of the Grey Hands complete various assignments dictated by the Blackstaff. So they're kind of an elite cadre of specialized adventurers. Basically, it's the professional adventurer who's kind of sworn. Cool. Yep. So it's pretty good. Basically, they handle all the problems that the City Watch and the diplomats can't handle because they kind of go around and between and under the law to accomplish what they need. There are the Harpers. Any non-evil character can join the Harpers of Waterdeep. Bards and wizards are especially welcome. Harpers are altruists who work behind the scenes to keep power out of the hands of evil tyrants. In the current situation, it doesn't take long for them to suspect and the escalation of violence in the city. Sorry, there's a little bit of spoiler, and you should read this to your character's part.
That's assuming that we know anything about the adventure.
Yeah.
So the Harpers are they're good. Their whole point is to keep too much power from accumulating in one place, whether it's good or evil. So they don't want Serarak getting people to worship him and becoming even more powerful. At the same time, they don't want like Larel Silverhand, the open Lord of Waterdeep, to start being worshipped like a god either, or to get some ultra powerful artifact they didn't already have.
They're proponents of maintaining the balance.
Maintaining the balance, exactly.
The Jedi of...
Very much so.
Yes.
They're also a secret society. However, they're kind of a secret society where it's like, you know, they wear a pin that's a silver harp, and you talk to the person like, hey, I'm a harper. And it's just like,
secret society, like, you know, the Masons
secret.
are a secret society.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah, exactly.
They got a lodge down the street, guys. So, there's that. There's the
Welcome
Lord's
to the Harpers Guild.
Welcome to the Harpers Guild. My name's Harp.
That appeals to me a little bit because I was interested in Bard to some extent.
Yeah, they're also pretty free-spirited, right? They will go around the law to do what they need to. The Lord's Alliance is another faction. The Lord's Alliance is a conglomerate of city-states in the north in the Forgotten Realms, or in the Sword Coast, rather. Waterdeep is kind of like the boss of this kind of federation. And it's just for the kind of protection of the cities and for the people within. They're it's a confederation of cities and towns up and down the Sword Coast throughout the north, including, among others, Baldur's Gate, Mirabar, Mithril Hall, Neverwinter, and Silvering. Members of the Alliance must come to one another's aid in times of need, and the organization uses field operatives, diplomats, spies, or assassins to safeguard its interests. The Lord's Alliance is run directly by Larel Silverhand, the Open Lord of Waterdeep, and the City Watch and City Guard kind of fall under its jurisdiction. So, if you're interested in the very lawful, I want to serve the city kind of character, that's not a bad option.
Yeah, but it's also it seems like it could lend itself to any range of type of character as long as it's lawful.
Yeah, exactly. Order of the Gauntlet is another one. Any non-evil character can join the Order of the Gauntlet in Waterdeep. Clerics, monks, and paladins are especially welcome, particularly if they worship Helm, Torm, or Tyr. The Order's mission is to seek out and destroy evil before it gains a foothold. And yeah, basically they're pretty fanatical. We must destroy the evil. The evil must be defeated kind of character.
Hey, do you want to destroy some evil today?
Not quite like that. They're kind of like your classic White Knight Paladin, I guess you could say. The last one, and this is not a secret organization, which is interesting, is the Zentarum, otherwise known as the Black Network.
Yes.
They have an open recruitment policy. Anyone can join. Tenacity and loyalty are highly valued, but not essential traits in any new member. The Zentarum is a shadow organization that trades mercenaries and goods, including weapons, for profit. It has long sought to gain a political influence in Waterdeep, but the strength of the city's masked lords, nobility, and professional guilds has made that difficult. So in this setting, the Zentarum has kind of, in the last few years, turned over a new leaf, proverbially. They're going for a more legitimate kind of direction, or at least a visibly legitimate direction.
Outwardly,
they still have their they have that mask of legitimacy, right? People might, get in trouble and go to jail that are part of the Zentarum, but none of their leaders ever do. They have other people to go to jail for them.
Of course.
Classic.
So
yeah,
exactly. They get shit done.
My character that I did for Tomb of Annihilation was part of the Zentarum. His whole backstory was so you guys know the Machine Story by Bert Kreischer, correct?
No.
Yes.
So my character was based on that story. He was recruited by the Zentarum to try and gain favor with all the partygoers of the world. It was fantastic.
Dang.
And that is the last kind of main open faction. There are two other kind of secret factions that you can join throughout the adventure. You don't have to take the faction agent background to join a faction. Like, you will get opportunities to do that throughout the adventure as factions kind of approach you based on all manner of different kind of reasons. So with all of that information I just threw at you in mind, I do have one big question, and that is, what direction do you guys want to go on the good, evil, law, chaos spectrum, right? I think it's okay to have one character in the party be, I'm in the Zentarum and I murder people for money. But that is not going to work so well if there's also I'm in the Order of the Gauntlet and I slaughter all evil without thinking, right? That's just not going to mesh well. So I think it'd be better if, there was some mix of the neutral side leaning toward either good or evil. Either works very well for this adventure.
I'm starting to like see a picture form in my mind of the character I want to play. Which I told you I was interested in the halfling. An idea that I had when we were talking about the Zentarum is playing kind of a relative newcomer to the city, country halfling impressed by big city life, who's taken up with the Zentarum, not understanding what he's getting into.
Excellent. Yeah, and of course, the Zentarum want a legitimacy, right? That's what they're looking for. So someone who maybe doesn't have these preconceptions about them, who will just do the good things they want, great.
Yeah. So maybe like in the neutral side, leaning towards good, but closer to just neutral.
Okay. Is anyone thinking of playing a monstrous race or a drow?
I was debating a drow.
What are we calling monstrous race?
So, something that most humans would be like,
So everything but humans, dwarves,
Kenku
and
are
elves
included in
and
that
halflings.
expressly.
Kenku
Are tieflings included in that?
No.
No, tieflings are important for a different reason unrelated to the fact.
Okay.
Do we get to know what that is?
Absolutely not.
Sick.
That comes in very late into the game. So, I think
I might just want to do that simply to find out.
I was also thinking a tiefling, maybe.
I think I can tell you guys this one of the other factions right off the bat, and that is Bregan Diarth. Bregan Diarth are first you have to be a drow, preferably a male, to join this faction. Bregan Diarth is Data, what are you? He just reached up and shanks me in the stomach. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's chaotic evil.
Buddy, I fed you early.
Which is a weird thing for a cat named Data to be, but here we are.
Here, buddy.
It should really be
you
called
want some treats?
Yeah, right?
Go sit up here and you can have treats.
He did it!
There he is.
Hey!
All right. Bregan Diarth is a company of mercenaries originally made up from the much derided and dishonorable castaways of destroyed drow houses. The group's leader, Jarlaxle Banway, is always looking for new members to fill the ranks, and loyalty is what matters most. They are very much outside the law. They are very discreet, so to speak. Almost all Bregan Diarth members are male, because female drow rarely condescend to take orders from a male. Female drow can earn a place in the faction by decrying the drow matriarchy and convincing Jarlaxle that she would be an asset to the Brotherhood. Jarlaxle employs non-drow operatives as well, none of whom realize they're actually working for him. Such individuals aren't considered members of the faction. So this is just kind of something to note. There is this kind of other force there. And again, they aren't evil. They're not an evil faction. They are just a different faction with different goals than some of the others. So, yeah, that's that one. I guess back to that original kind of question, Pete, you were saying you were going more toward the Zentarum maybe as an option for you?
Yeah, that sounded appealing to me.
Okay.
Because they also seem very, like, the Zentarum seem like the kind of faction that would find themselves very much entangled in a dragon heist. Like, it feels like they fit into that kind of heisty archetype well.
Well, they're very much like the Illuminati. Like, that's kind of their shtick, except everyone knows about them.
Well, everyone knows about the Illuminati.
Yeah, but, like, they know exactly everything about the Zentarum. That's the difference.
I mean, you know everything that's in Area 51.
Do you know why it's called Dragon Heist?
Do we steal dragons?
Yeah, well, I thought it was...
steal...
I was joking before that it's because we steal a dragon, but...
No.
I don't know anything.
Are we robbing a dragon?
I know nothing.
Yeah, are we robbing a dragon? Are we stealing a dragon egg or chick?
in Waterdeep.
Are we stealing from multiple dragons?
I mean, I'm not saying you can't steal from multiple dragons in the adventure.
Oh,
You guys, it was Horde of Tiamat the whole time.
Wait, I'll be playing Bilbo Baggins.
I have a really cool ring.
Wow, really? That's a crazy background benefit. I can't believe they published that. In Waterdeep, coinage takes a bunch of different forms. The copper coin is called a nib. It's just a copper coin. I can actually share your picture with that. Move over to the screen so other people can. Wow.
Oh.
What?
Incredible. Oh, that's a cool coin.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's just a cool looking coin. Gotta open up this now. Oh no. This is a nightmare. I have to run OBS.
Jeremy, what kind of how prominent a role would you say Electrum plays in
God. Why would you?
It doesn't.
Okay,
There's no
good.
Electrum coinage in Waterdeep.
All right,
actually.
thank God.
Did you say Dragon Deep Water Heist?
I did. That was a reference. That was a reference to an adventure. That's an reference to an adventure that Jeremy ran in D&D time once, which was a play on.
So Dragon Deep Water
Heist, which is the silver piece in Waterdeep.
Oh.
Which is there is the dragon, which is the gold piece of Waterdeep.
Ooh.
Hence the name of the adventure, Dragon Heist. They are gold dragons. So you're
Who's
stealing,
that guy?
You're that is Ergoron.
Is this just
Argoron.
an Ocean's movie?
I don't know. You'll have to find out, Kyle.
Oh,
Is Kyle?
It totally is.
Kyle's George Clooney. Oh no.
And then
No, I want to be Brad Pitt. Fuck you.
There are some bigger pieces called Suns and Harbor Moons, which are platinum and like mega platinum pieces, respectively.
Why are we stealing those?
I don't know why, dude. You're stealing dragons.
Why
Dragon
are we...
Heist sounds way cooler.
I feel like Moon Heist would be pretty good.
Or
Yeah,
Sun
right?
Heist, like Sun Heist
Moon
sounds sweet.
Heist?
I don't know. I think Dragon Heist is pretty rad. Also, it's called Dungeons and Dragons, so it's corporate synergy there.
Yeah, Wizards really thought that one out.
Yeah, I don't know if we're actually going to use the names for the coins, but we could.
Oh, I'm going to exclusively call them Nibs, Shards, and Dragons.
Awesome. I'm down with that. Go for it.
I'm into it.
I mean, I don't think it makes
Except when I forget.
difficult.
So
then you say
time.
silver one time, and then whoever you're trying to buy from just kind of like laughs. You're like, idiot.
Peasant.
Greenhorn.
Buffoon.
A buffoon, indeed. So yeah, I guess what kind of direction were you guys thinking about in terms of the good, evil, law, chaos stuff? I know, Pete, you were looking for a more good character, right? A good-hearted character.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm into.
I think I'm probably on a similar path. I like good characters just because it's, for me personally, it's easier to play.
Sure.
It's what I like to do. But I was kind of like, for factions, I was kind of leaning towards like the gray hands type thing.
Okay, cool.
You know, do something with that maybe.
Yeah, and again, you don't have to start in any faction.
Yeah, no, I get that, but that I thought could give my character a really interesting direction that I wanted to.
Yeah, right. It's something to work toward, right?
Yeah.
Crowley, anything kind of interest you at all?
Man, I feel like part of me wants to play evil. But I do that all the time on this channel.
Crowley, I don't think I've ever played a campaign
your heart, man.
where you haven't been evil.
Yeah, see, maybe I should be good.
I thought Marvelo was just chaotic neutral.
Yeah,
No.
sure. Yeah.
Sure. Hashtag hire Marvelo.
Yeah, hashtag hire Marvelo. He totally didn't start taking mob jobs just as like hits on people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's that.
Okay, so maybe we want to. So I guess actually, while we're talking about good and evil and stuff, let's talk about the law of Waterdeep a little bit. I think we're gonna go with the assumption that y'all have been in Waterdeep for enough time to have a general understanding of the rules and regulations.
Yeah.
Right. You know what's legal and what's not. There is a handout for that. And I can give that to you guys once I find it.
Ooh.
Where are you, Code Legal?
Is it from? Also, I really like just Volo's Waterdeep in Kyridian.
Cool. Can you see that?
Yes.
Oh, well, Excellent. I guess it started with you guys able to see. Vola's Waterdeep in Caridian is a pretty detailed little guidebook for Waterdeep. You guys can feel free to read that at your leisure. It has a ton of information about the city.
Well, I don't have the Anti-Meridian.
It's
just a drop down.
The folder that's called that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will give that to you guys in a little bit then.
Cool.
I see. It links to the Cold handout. Wonderful. So, the Cold Legal. I'm going to show that to you guys now so you can see it.
This is one of the few things I did know about.
Whoa.
Apparently, there are only 4 laws. No, there's not actually only 4 laws. Basically,
there are only 4 laws.
In Waterdeep, there is a kind of there's a very weird legal system where there's the laws created by the Open Lords. By the Open Lord at the kind of behest and guidance of the Masked Lords. And then there's the City Watch who kind of enforces those laws, make arrests and everything. But the people who pass judgment are actually a bunch of people called Magisters. They're appointed by the Open Lord kind of directly. And they pass absolute judgment. They're the only ones who can hear cases or make judgment, and they're legally allowed to make whatever snap judgment call they damn well please. So if you throw eggs at a magistrate and they say 10 years in hard labor, unless someone higher up on the totem pole than them questions it, you're doing 10 years of hard labor. So you probably don't want to do that. I just got to scroll down so we can see the Thanos gauntlet here. Excellent. But yeah, so that's kind of how the base legal stuff goes on. Nobility can overrule magistrates. The Open Lord of Waterdeep can overrule magistrates. And I think right there you're seeing kind of important reasons to, well, if I took the noble background and I have nobility connections, hey, that's pretty good. That might help me out in a pinch.
I really like that poisoning a city well is on here.
Yeah. Yeah, those. So the
somebody's poisoned the water hole.
There's a snake in my boot.
Yeah, it's just split up into 4 different categories of crime: crime against the lords, officials, and nobles; crimes against the city; crimes against the gods; and crimes against citizens. These are suggested punishments, but a magistrate can just rule whatever they damn well please. That being said, magistrates tend to be pretty balanced in Waterdeep.
It's probably how they become magistrates in the first place, is by
they get removed if they don't too.
Yeah.
So,
you
will find. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm a big fan right now of crimes against the gods. This punishment of just edict, just the forbidding of the convicted from doing something, just determined, apparently arbitrary for the crimes against the gods. I'm a big fan of that.
Absolutely. Tomb robbing, imprisonment up to a 10-day, and damages covering the cost of repairs, plus 500 gold. Guess you don't rob tombs.
So, whoa. Murdering a citizen with justification? That is still a crime? That's bullshit.
What? So, I mean...
Oh, jeez.
They're only crimes if you get caught. They're only crimes.
Ooh, that's true. That's
you didn't break the law if no one knows.
That being said, it's going to be really hard to get you out of hard labor plus 3 years in prison.
Yeah.
That's going to be a challenge. Also, getting 1,000 gold.
Yeah. Kyle murder hobos of NPC in the woods.
I'm just playing Shia LaBeouf, guys. I figured out my character.
Shia LaBeouf. Oh, goodness.
With that in mind, right, that there are kind of penalties for doing bad things. And the way kind of arrests work in this is you can just kind of go quietly, you can try and run away, or you can try and fight them. If you fight them, you're probably going to just die. If you run away, they'll probably catch you. And if you go quietly, well, then you face whatever punishment you're up against. So getting allies and building those kind of faction ties are a really important thing when you inevitably something bad happens, right? You do something wrong, or you get framed, or whatever.
I really like the idea that my character already has bumbled in their first few days in Waterdeep and just has a permanent edict on them now. That's just some arbitrary thing they can't do.
Yeah, right. You're not
I don't have
allowed in
anything
the
in mind
castle
yet.
ward.
But yeah, just like maybe a part
That'd
of
be
the city I
brutal.
can't go that wouldn't destroy the game, or like.
Well, that's an interesting idea, right? The city is made up of a ton of different locations. It is gigantic, and I'm going to move us over onto the map of
boy.
Waterdeep. You guys can see just how freakishly huge this place is. So,
holy
what?
crap!
All right, Waterdeep is a
Oh,
big
hey.
one.
Hello.
It's extremely large. Every street has a name. Most of these locations, there's so many locations. It's crazy what it looks like in Roll20. I'll tell you. And yeah, it's just a gigantic map.
What is the City of the Dead?
The City of the Dead is it's a large cemetery. It's the kind of city cemetery. It's also like a public park. Waterdeep, the Waterdavians, as they're called, don't bury their dead anymore. There's just very nice, fanciful mausoleums in there that are connected to extra-dimensional spaces where the dead are.
Wait, they just throw the dead bodies through portals?
I mean, no, it's just extra-dimensionally large. Yeah, that's exactly what happens, Crowley. Pretty much.
All right.
That seems.
I can't wait to take the high road.
Absolutely nothing can go wrong with that.
You take the high road, I'll take the low road.
Unfortunately,
there's no
there is
low road
no
in
low road.
What?
Yeah, there's only
no
the high
low
road.
Yeah. Jesus
but yeah,
Christ.
it's
this place
quite
is
large.
massive.
Oh, I want to live on Spices Street.
You want to live on Spices Street, Pete? What makes you think that you can afford a house and where Spices?
I want to live on Snail
Spices Street for me. I love Snail Street.
It's by the docks.
Oh, I like Thunderstep.
Oh, it's in the dark. Is it in the dock ward?
Yeah.
All right, you're fine. That
seems cheap. That's why I liked it.
I really like Thunder. Jeremy, how much does a house on Thunderstaff Way cost?
Can you ping it for me? I can tell you.
I thought that said
you can tell.
There's no way Thunderstaff is.
Where is that, Kyle?
It's in the very north.
Oh, I see. I couldn't see where you were pinging because it was so far away from me.
God, this is so crazy.
Thunderstaff Way, that's near the Field Ward, which isn't super nice. But it's
but it's called Thunderstaff Way, which sounds like mages.
It depends.
Sounds dope.
If you're more toward the closer you get to Sea Ward, the more expensive it's going to be. That's where like the new money lives in Waterdeep. The North Ward is where.
So is this just supposed to be like Long Island? Like
the North Ward is like the upper middle class. That'll be probably 30,000.
What is like downtown?
This building is 30,000.
I don't know. I don't know what you pointed to.
The giant building that's sort of set off on its own.
The castle.
The castle. Yeah,
that's Castle Waterdeep.
All right, how much is that?
You can't buy that.
Why?
Can't or won't?
Yeah. Why?
How much is the Statue of Liberty worth?
Probably the same amount as the Declaration of Independence, Pete.
Ah, yes.
Right, we're gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
No way.
Steal Castle Waterdeep.
I'm in. Ooh, how much does it cost to live on Knife?
That's why I was saying it.
All right, we're not going to talk about how much it costs to live on the streets.
No, this is HGTV Waterdeep.
Jeremy. This is where we live now.
Waterdeep house heist.
Proverbial.
Right now, I think you live in the Yawning Portal, which is a tavern.
Where is the Yawning Portal?
The Yawning Portal is in Waterdeep.
It is in fact in Waterdeep. It is essential to Waterdeep.
But where in Waterdeep is it?
I'm looking for it. There's so much text on here. Dude, there's so much hidden text.
Saltpork Street.
Funny. All right. The Yawning Portal actually is very close to the Castle Ward. I'm just going to put it on the map right now. Where?
Oh, hey, there it is.
I don't see it.
It's right near the castle.
Right here, Pete.
It's going to make it easier to steal this castle.
There it is.
Oh. I was looking at the Castle Ward. There we go.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. It's not anywhere near the Castle Ward. I guess it's kind of cool. But anyway, the Yawning Portal is a tavern owned by a man named Durnan. He doesn't look very old, but he's very old. He's one of those kind of like, you're a human, but you've been alive for like 200 years, ? Kind of people. And that is where the adventure will kind of begin. actually, it's kind of cool. There are a bunch of different friendly faces that you guys might know for having spent some time in the Yawning Portal, which can help to, maybe guide you in a certain direction or something. If you decide to get friendly with them. So
that's dope that we started the Yawning Portal.
Of course.
Which is very exciting.
We should all immediately go in the hole.
Yeah, guys, we're just gonna go
playing
right,
a different adventure.
Right to Dungeon of the Mad Mage. You all die immediately.
We'll be starting at Tomb of Horrors.
I just played that.
Yeah, now try it at level 1.
Jeremy, can you explain the significance of every single street's name?
No.
Yeah.
Actually, well, I'm interested. No. You don't have time, but could you? Is the book that detailed?
Not every single street's name, but a shockingly large number.
Is Endcliff Lane called Endcliff Lane because it's near the end of a cliff?
More than likely, yeah.
Can I do one more, and I promise it's the last one?
Pete, you can do as many as you like. Just
what goes down at Virgin Square?
Not a lot.
That's where they make olive oil.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Snipe, Jeremy. That was quick.
Yeah. They make and sell olive oil. It's in the trades word, Pete. What do you expect?
Does
not olive oil.
Does anyone else starting to have any kind of ideas about what they want to do? Because I know I'm starting to kind of have a character that's.
I'm going to move you guys off of the map just so you don't get too distracted.
Thank you.
All
right.
I'm going to zoom way in on Thanos here.
God, I'm in his booger.
So has anyone else got anything that's they're kind of thinking of?
And his Infinity Stones.
So
right?
I'm starting to feel this halfling. I'm maybe starting to like lean in towards a bard is sounding appealing. But if people like start to start to have ideas that conflict with that, or we have too many spellcasters, I wouldn't mind going maybe like a fighter or more martial direction, a ranger. But bard feels really good.
Let me see if I can find some information about the guilds, because that also
I think that might be.
Oh yeah.
Completely forgot about the guilds.
Find them. All right. Well, guilds does not find the information about the guilds, so I'm going to keep looking. You guys keep talking.
Well, I was looking at possibly going with a Forge Domain Cleric. That is one of the things that stuck out to me as something that that just because I think I could actually use his Channel Divinity Artisan's Blessing in this game at some point,
especially at early levels.
Right?
I feel like that has so much more impact, and it feels really good at early levels. I wouldn't say it feels good. I'd say it is good at early levels.
And your first level ability, Blessing of the Forge, you start with a magic item, magic weapon, or magic armor. You get magic armor level 1.
Yeah, pretty
wild.
So let's talk a little bit about bringing the party together and like character backgrounds and stuff. So like this kind of assumes, like I said before, that you're all adventurers to some degree. You don't have to be a party, but the idea is you spend a lot of time at the Yawning Portal. You've gotten to know each other, and maybe you're just drinking buddies, if nothing else. The Yawning Portal is a very eclectic place.
I have a question about that, though.
Sure.
So, does the Yawning Portal like service all manner of people?
Everyone.
Being like
everything,
like highborns and all that stuff go there. Like it doesn't matter.
Everybody.
Okay.
Everybody.
Everybody goes to the Yawning Portal.
Actually, there's a really cool picture for the Yawning Portal. I'm going to show it to you guys now.
Oh boy!
I'm so excited for this.
Oh boy!
It is a joke, somewhat. I can't even make it big enough.
Oh, Matt Mercer's in this somewhere. There he is.
There's everybody's in this picture.
He's on the right.
Why isn't it making it bigger?
Behind the beholder.
He's
sitting at the table.
I see him. That's really cool.
Is Gygax in this picture somewhere?
I don't think so. Man, I wish this picture was way
insulting.
bigger.
Is that a koala?
There's so many characters in this. It's not.
There is a Warforged in here, choking out some dude on the side.
Oh, I thought that might be Groot.
I think that was just you, Kyle.
Maybe.
Goodness.
It's Kyle.
Kyle
that guy is just killing that dude.
Kyle Robot stabs people with his arm blade.
Guys, this is why I can't find it, because it's a whole map.
Oh my
Oh.
god, wonderful. How wonderful.
Well, I mean, essentially.
Oh, where's Waldo?
Yeah, welcome to the Yawning Portal, everyone.
it's
It is
Mert.
huge. Everybody's here.
Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
There's a boulder hanging out down in the corner. Everybody's out here.
This is wonderful.
There's a mind flare there.
Is this a realistic take on what the average day at the Yawning Portal is like?
It's probably
Or is
depends
this a
on
bit
the day.
exaggerated?
This is like a Friday.
Okay.
Maybe not
Okay.
as many monsters.
I was gonna ask, is there like, could you run
Probably
into
not a
mind flayers?
doppelganger strangling a guy out in the corner. That's
Yeah,
probably
But these
probably
things
not.
are all numbered. Is there a key to this?
There
Does this
is a
say who
key.
everyone
Yeah.
is?
Yeah, you
Oh
can
my
play
God.
Where's Waldo with this.
That's amazing.
All right, next question. Is Waldo in here anymore?
I don't
Find
think
him.
Waldo.
Yeah, you gotta find him.
I'm looking, but I haven't seen him yet.
In before, it's actually just John Cena.
So at the
dressed as
Yawning Portal,
Waldo.
we're not going to see like Grells eating people, probably. On like
Well,
the
unless
average
one
day.
crawls out of the well.
Yeah, but
Ooh,
They're
well,
not like,
well,
you know,
There
except for
actually
the
is a
entrance.
well in the middle of the Yawning Portal.
Yeah,
So,
it's
yeah, in
where
the
it
middle
gets
of the
its
Yawning
name.
Portal is a big hole called the Well. It's 40 feet in diameter, just to give you an idea of how.
I thought it was called the
crazy
Yawning Portal.
It's called the Well, which is dumb.
No, the
But
fireplace
people
is
call
the
people
Yawning
call it
Portal.
the Yawning Portal.
Shouldn't that be the fireplace?
It should be. The fireplace is so cool. And that is, long story short, Durnan and another adventurer named Mert, who is now just a prolific noble in Waterdeep, went down there 200 years ago, got a whole bunch of cool treasure. Everyone thought it was like a death sentence. That's where Waterdeep used to throw their worst criminals to die. They came back up, were super rich. Mert went off adventuring and later became a noble. And Durnan built the tavern on top of the well. He charges a fee to any adventurers who wish to go. You guys absolutely are not strong enough to do that at this point, but you know, if that's an option people want to go, if they want to do a big dungeon crawl once we're done with Dragon Heist, that's totally cool.
Yeah, maybe.
But I was saying something before we got sidetracked on the Yawning Portal.
I found the
Guilds.
Waffle Crew.
you were talking about guilds,
Yes,
or you're
right.
about to.
Right. So character
One
backgrounds. If someone's interested in like a noble background, there are actually a handful of noble families that it recommends that you could go with that may have some ties into the adventure, or they might not. Who knows? All the families have like a house motto. Their villa has like a location on the map, and all sorts of cool stuff like that. Is anyone interested in that kind of route, or are you, nah, not really?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure about the noble,
Maybe.
Okay.
but the guild artisan was something that I was.
Yes. So
Guild
let's talk
artisan,
about
a man after my own heart.
any
Yeah.
characters with the guild artisan background are assumed to have free membership in one of Waterdeep's guilds of their choice. Excuse me. Arcane spellcasters living in the city are required by law to register with the Watchful Order of Mages and Protectors, so that they can be called upon to defend the city with their magic in times of need. The Watchful Order of Mages and Protectors are another guild. They're kind of a how do I put this? They work for the character the Blackstaff, who's kind of like the Archmage of Waterdeep. And so they're another kind of faction you can tie in with.
Okay.
To join a guild, one must possess a background, a proficiency, or a status that the guild values. For example, a character with a sailor background is welcome to join the Master Mariners Guild. One can practice the profession and not be a guild member, but such autonomy carries a cost. The guilds do everything they can to entice new members to join and pay for membership, and they go out of their way to hinder independent business owners, up to and including driving them out of business. A baker who
Wow.
refuses to join the Baker's Guild might find her flour supply cut off, while a wizard who refuses to join the Watchful Order of Mages and Protectors might be denied access to sages, libraries, and other useful resources.
Wow.
Guilds charge members monthly
Like real
or
life.
yearly.
Kind of.
Guilds charge members monthly or yearly dues that vary. For simplicity, you can have a guild charge 1 gold piece per month or 10 gold pieces for a year's dues paid in advance. A guild can expel a member for any number of reasons, not the least of which is failing to pay your dues. There are taxes in this game. You pay a monthly tax
Why?
to Waterdeep. You also pay Any
I don't
guild
want to
do
play this game.
If you,
Do I have to get healthcare from the city of Waterdeep? Because
no, that you're good. You're good with that.
I don't want to find out about the Waterdeep connector.
Guys,
Jesus.
Waterdeep has a big dig planned. It's going to be great.
Oh, jeez.
How many years in is it?
Isn't that
Jeremy?
just the
Only
whole?
going to take 3 years.
yeah.
That's
three.
what they
Yeah,
said when they put
3.
the well in the Yawning Portal.
3 years and only 50,000 gold piece. Only 50,000 dragons. Anyway, so let's talk about some of the guilds. There are a ton of them. I'm just going to start reading them off. If any strike your interest at all, just say like, hey, that sounds cool, and like we'll stop and think about it.
All right.
Hey.
So there's the Bakers Guild, the Carpenters, Roofers, and Plasterers Guild, the Cellarers and Plumbers Guild, the Coopers Guild, the Council of Farmer Grocers.
Very quickly, what is a Cooper?
Chickens.
Yeah, they make
One who makes coops. Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful.
they make.
And actually, I'm interested in farmers and grocers.
I thought it was-
So interesting thing about Waterdeep, they get their food stuff from a ton of different places. They really don't do magically created food. Sorry, it's not that they don't do it; it's that it sucks. Like the Waterdeep Soup Kitchen probably has, create food and water food. But for the most part, they import food from exotic places, and there is a large kind of farm abbey, just a couple, maybe like a week or two's travel to the east, called Golden Fields, which supplies a ton of the grain and basic stuff for water. There is, however, a big farm in the Field Ward, which is called Amend's Field, basically, where if you commit a crime and you don't have the money to pay the fee, you do forced labor there to pay it off. So it's like a kind of brutal place. The farmer grocers probably have their hands in a lot of different things. So they can go in a lot of different directions. And obviously there's more like fine things like... What were you interested about farmers and grocers, Pete?
My thought was no, I didn't think it was a meme. I'm thinking like I'm just kind of like a rural halfling,
Okay.
and if I'm going that direction, then like probably have a lot of experience as a farmer, and that's the kind of thing that I would want to get work in, or
Absolutely.
also probably enjoys food very much. So that would just be like
it's a good place for food.
Yeah, even if I end up deciding that like I don't necessarily have experience as a farmer, it would just be kind of like the appeal of, oh yeah, a grocer. I want to work at the place where the food is. Those are just a passing interest.
What's actually really interesting about that, right, is this adventure is going to have a bunch of downtime, a ton of downtime. And one of the downtime activities is just honest work.
That sounds so appealing.
I'm going farming, guys.
Just
Farming for a week.
being honest, doing a good job.
That just sounds like you've summed up the kind of character I want to play right there, Jeremy. Just honest work.
I'm glad that this is appealing to you.
But
I'm going to continue to read because we only got 5 out of like 40 something guilds in. So
40? Christ.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. The Council of Musicians, Instrument Makers, and Choristers. The Dung Sweepers Guild.
So okay, just tell me about the Dung Sweepers Guild.
Yeah, I need to know.
I want to know that I want to know how much information is on the Dung Sweeper Guild.
Probably a lot.
Waterdeep has plumbing. Like this, most of the city has plumbing. Some of the city does not have plumbing. The Dung Sweepers Guild make money. Well, here's the thing: they actually make a lot of money. They're actually a very, very lucrative guild, despite their kind of dour position, because they are paid by the city. That's one thing, but they also make money selling stuff. And by that, I mean
things that are discarded that may not.
Well, they have collectors, right? They have collectors who go to the parts of the city that don't have plumbing. That they go out and they collect urine and they collect shit, and then they resell that to various industries or farms, basically. They also clean up the streets. There are tons of horses in Waterdeep. tons of horses.
Someone has to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
So they make
Road
a
apples.
pretty good living kind of doing duality of
Most
of
people will
things.
pay a lot to have it not be them.
Well, here's another thing. If you are playing a more mischievous character, a dung sweeper can get just about anywhere, and no one's going to pay them.
I
any
work
money.
in,
I was
I work
thinking
in
about
waste
that.
management.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking about being like a mobster almost with that. I immediately thought that when you said it. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I could use this as a front.
Yeah, right. Like exactly. So
Wait, can I
there's-
play the Trash King?
I mean, you
Right?
could, Pete. You could play
No.
the Trash King.
Like as Matty Morg said in the chat, like you could be the Poop Smith from Homestar Runner. Just I say almost nothing the entire game. Taking a vow of silence. I'm here to clean up poop.
All right. I think we understand the. I think we understand the Dung
Mhm.
Sweeper skill.
And dirty chops.
The Fellowship of Bowers and Fletchers, the Fellowship of Carters and Coachmen, the Fellowship of Innkeepers, the Fellowship of Salters, Packers, and Joiners, the Fishmongers Fellowship, the Guild of Apothecaries and Physicians, the Guild of Butchers, the Book of Candlers and Lamplighters, the Guild of Fine Carvers, the Guild of Glassblowers, Glazers, I don't know, and Spectacle Makers, the Guild of Stonecutters, Masons, Potters, and Tile Makers, the Guild of Trusted Pewterers and Casters, the Guild of Watermen, the Jesters Guild, the Jewelers Guild,
Just
the
very briefly,
Wanderers.
what is
Go
a
ahead.
waterman?
That is a
Farrier.
good question.
Is that it? One who operates?
It'd
Water.
be someone who operates a ferry.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, just curious.
There are some small islands on the outliers of Waterdeep. They also could just be people that, well, probably not. Yeah, that's probably. I think you're right, Kyle. Some
Nicely
of them
done,
are not
Kyle.
like super flushed out, but the League of Basket Makers and Wicker Workers, the League of Skinners and Tanners, the Loyal Order of Street Laborers, the Master Mariners Guild, the Most Careful Order of Skilled Smiths and Metal Forgers, the Most Diligent League of Sailmakers and Cordwainers,
Why are these getting more interesting?
the Most Excellent Order of Weavers and Dyers.
Were they all like this and you weren't reading those?
No, they just
Okay,
started getting
okay.
more.
Sorry, go on.
No, it's a perfectly good question. The Order of Cobblers and Corvusers, the Order of Master Shipwrights, the Order of Master Tailors, Glovers, and Mercers. I think Matt's in that one. The Saddlers and Harness Makers Guild, the Scriveners, Scribes, and Clerks Guild. Keep in mind, those guys are the ones who publish the broadsheets in the city. They're also responsible for putting up all like the street signs and the navigation throughout the city, so they actually do have some sway. The Solemn Order of Recognized Furriers and Woolmen, the Splendid Order of Armorers, Locksmiths, and Finesmiths, the Stable Masters and Farriers Guild, the Stationers Guild, Surveyors, Map, and Charter Makers Guild, the Vintners, Distillers and Brewers Guild, Wagon Makers and Coach Builders Guild, the Watchful Order of Mages and Protectors, and the Wheelwrights Guild.
What was the last one?
The
Wheelwrights.
Wheelwright. They make wheels.
Yeah.
So
For a perspective for these guys' the power these guilds have in the town, if you want to build a house, first you have to pay, what were they?
the carpenters.
Surveyors?
No, you got to pay the Surveyors, Map, and Charter Makers Guild to design the place and improve its layout on the area. Then you have to get the plumber. Where are they?
The people who do the plumbing and all that.
The
kind of
plumbing
stuff.
people to come do that. Then you have to get the carpenters to build the stuff. Then you have to get the Splendid Order of Armorers, Locksmiths, and Finesmiths to come in and put in all of your hinges or locks on doors. Yeah, it just goes.
Jeremy, I think you're dropping frames.
Am I
Yeah.
dropping frames?
Yeah, you're dropping them in Skype too. So
Oh. It appears we are dropping frames. We will just take a quick break then while we figure that out. Thank you all for hanging out so far. Hopefully we don't drop any more frames and we figure everything out soon. See you in a minute.
Yeah.